last bite? Looking for
Oh man. Yeah, I need to finish because I have a lot to say. Actually, I had to note this one down. I usually, go into it with my feel and whatever we're gonna go towards, but I had to note these points down. First one, I want to know if it's normal for your mind to constantly be talking.
who gets to decide what normal is?
That's a very good point. Is it does it happen often, I guess, is the question I'm asking. Does it happen to most people?
I can speak to most people, but when you say that your mind to consistently be talking, what are you hearing? What conversations are taking place?
Um, it's kind of random. Or I can I can take moments that I've been through, and because my mind is always constantly thinking about something, even mid thought or mid conversation, my mind is always kind of thinking and processing. When something comes to my mind, I'm able to attach it from something like way back when, years ago. And I find myself falling into having conversations with my mind or dozing, dazing, gazing, dozing off, whatever, daydreaming, and I get really deep into my own thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
but it's constant. And the reason why I asked is because I was watching something and they said that there, or maybe I was on Twitter, they said that there is a certain amount of people who don't see anything when they close their eyes.
Okay. Say,
Like
say, say more.
I'm able to, like, you could tell somebody to close their eyes and envision an apple, and all they'll see is darkness. Like no
Really?
matter how, that's what the fuck I said. So I started thinking, wait, is this whole world that I could imagine in my mind like a rare, or does this happen to people, or is vivid voices or imagery in your head like a thing?
So just so we're clear, right? These voices and this conversation that's happening, are they telling you to do certain things?
No. I ultimately make the decision for myself on my own. It's never like a, oh, Orlando, you want that pussy, go cheat, Orlando. No, it's it's different versions of me speaking
Talking
things
to
from
yourself.
different perspectives. Right. Yeah. Or I mean, that's how it's viewed or it's felt from me. I don't know if it's another being or godly presence or whatever the case may be, but in my head, it sounds like different voices of me from different perspectives as my current thought. So like if I'm committed to Mila, then I'll have different point of views, but all these point of views are committed to Mila. So it's not a point of views that makes me want to go cheat or do things that's out of character. It's just I would do all of these different things in this scenario, but I can only make one decision. That's what the conversations with myself is like.
Okay, so it's you thinking the different decisions that you have to make, but ultimately choosing which one to go, right? You're just
Exactly.
evaluating what your responses or what your options or what your decision makings could be.
Yeah, but it's all day with different things, different thoughts, different processes all day. So it can happen without even me being actually like consciously within the thought and conversation within the thought.
Okay.
So that's how like things could like continue to like connect for me and things like that. But doesn't even have to be decision making. It could just be like a regular thought. It could literally be anything. It could be me choosing to come to therapy today. I can either do therapy today. I can either say, oh, I want to do it later. I can say I want to do it tomorrow. I can say I don't want to do this fucking episode anymore, right? So, but it's not a matter of, oh, I'm thinking of different options. It's a sit down conversation with multiple voices. And sometimes it can get distracting. Because there's one time where my mind will start racing and I had to snap myself just to like quiet it down. That's been like a thing that can help like calm my mind. I'll just snap right next to my ear and it's like a it's like it calms the mind or the energy or the waves in my head to like make it more steady and I could think straight. And somebody called me doing it before, and they were like, "What was that?" And I was like, "It's fucking voices in my head. I had to get them under control." And they were like, "Huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, don't worry about it." But
So
I didn't
when you
know how
say
to explain
voices
it.
in your head, speaking to a therapist, it could sound like other things, right? Schizophrenia. It
Mhm.
could talk about, it could be a form of schizoaffective, where you're just hearing voices that are telling you what to do. They're watching you. Jump out the window. Don't trust this
No.
person. But to you, it sounds like it's more like you're having an internal dialogue with yourself in your mind about what's going on in your life, and at times even going back to your childhood and just re-experiencing things and kind of recalculating what your options are, right?
Yeah,
And you
that's a better
learn,
experience.
yeah, right? And you learn how to calm it down now
Yeah,
to
because
clear your mind.
it's yeah. It's not like I'm having suicidal thoughts or detrimental thoughts to myself. It's this this is what I would be thinking, but it's not one train thought. It's just multiple thoughts firing off to the point where they sound like voices having a conversation. And when it's too overwhelming, that's when I have to snap. And usually it's actually my right ear. Yeah, that's when I have to snap, and then it's like, shh, then we can slowly have a conversation. And I don't mind having a conversation with myself. Honestly, I don't even mind answering or asking myself things. I enjoy this place of solitude in my mind because it's comfortable to be with myself.
Do
It's
you
just,
do you trust it?
oh, of course, it's the one thing I trust more than anything else.
Yeah.
Yes.
So could you share when you had to make a big decision and how you actually trusted those internal thoughts and how they assisted you?
Um. Oh, okay. Actually, um, when I first, all right, here's a big one because if I mention there's gonna be a bunch of little ones because it's constantly happening. But a big one was when I left and came to LA, making that decision, right? So within that time, talking to my, I was talking to myself, and within this conversation, I'm speaking about different parts of this decision. If I stay, then what am I gonna do? If I stay and still do the things that I've been doing before with the people that were there before, what that was there before, what does it look like? Um and yeah, so me leaving New York, I was having multiple conversations with myself over and over and over. My mind was like, and it was a big decision that I was about to make. I didn't know if I was making it or not, but I knew it was a big decision. And all I could do was sit there and think about it nonstop and and have these like racing point of views of myself just going through my mind nonstop. And the only one that stopped it was when I walked outside and it was a nice day. I walked outside, looked at the sky, started walking, then I just started thinking, you know what? Can't come to a conclusion. The counsel of myself can't come to a conclusion.
Hmm.
What would a bad bitch do? And so like it's like the bad bitch has entered the building, right?
Right?
And then that's a new voice and a new thought that actually guided and helped propel me to the decision I made, because that's a perspective or a point of view of myself that is so overly confident, that is so sure about things, and no matter what I do, I remember that that part of me was there and alive. And then when that voice started speaking to me and telling me like, you're gonna be fine, this is what bad bitches do. If they're gonna make the decision, be okay with the decision, and they're gonna live in the decision, and all of these things. And I was like, all right, well, this is the decision I gotta make. And that's how I came to the conclusion to
Well,
leave a lot of things and also start this new beginning and be confident in that decision too, with no regrets.
the keyword that you use is the counsel,
Mm-hmm.
right? So before I even expand on that, who else did you go to discuss you moving? Who else opinion mattered to you or meant
Um,
to you?
all right. So you asked two questions. Who did I go to and who opinions matter, right? And that's a big thing, right? Because honestly, nobody's opinion mattered. Who I went to, I didn't necessarily go to somebody. I ended up having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I didn't go to him, but that's the person I spoke to about this. And it was very comforting, it was a great conversation that I had with him. And that helped with not the decision making, but the process of coming to that decision and feeling better about that decision, or just feeling better about a decision, period. Who I went to was actually Mila, because I know Mila and we know each other, and I knew for a fact, hey, if anybody I can go to about this big decision and it's actually gonna have the time for me, one of those people be Mila. On top of that, I'm moving to where she is, so it going to her made the most sense because it all just fit, right? But if I were to say that I would have went to anybody, I can't really think that I would have just on my own outwardly went to somebody when I could have just thought about it myself.
Whose opinions do you trust? Or whose, I don't even say opinions, but whose guidance apart from yours and Mila do you trust?
Apart from you also.
Right.
um some of my really closest friends. No, actually my closest friends, period. And specifically my closest friends now um because they showed me who my friends are. Basically, this is a tough time, tough moment or whatever. Or when I was going through that moment, it was a tough time, and those are people I'm okay with going to. I do have some friends that I'm okay with going to some things, and other things that I won't. But as far as this, all the closest people to me, I felt confident about. Like I can speak to them about this.
Gotcha. If we go back to younger Orlando, right? Teen to 18, 19 or so, right? Who who are the people that when you were younger that you could go to and kind of explain or share what was happening in your life that would help you?
Mhm, mhm. Um,
Where I'm going with this.
you said 18, 19?
Actually younger, much younger.
When I was really actually in it, nobody.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing, and this is crazy because I actually had this written down. I didn't have anybody, and that was the beginning of meditating for me.
Mm-hmm.
Mixed with my whole thing with Christianity, and trying to find like my own outward source. When I learned in meditating was, to just sit still, close your eyes, and whatever, do whatever with your mind. But people will tell you, no, empty your mind. And at a young age, this had to be like maybe 15, anywhere between 15 to 15, 16. I realized that I can't meditate when I try to concentrate on having an empty mind. But instead, if I just let the thoughts come to me and let them flow, it makes it easier for me to sit in this stillness and in this meditation. So that was actually the beginning, if I can remember like far back enough, where I was able to accept my thoughts. And that's when I felt comfortable in that space. I just always let that happen. I just let my thoughts just come to me and let them flow. And that also goes to the other side of realizing that it's hard for me to indulge in guided meditations where voices are telling, you just you're listening to somebody's voice and they're telling you, imagine this and whatever the case may be. It's hard for me to do that because I already have like these voices in this space that I've curated
Mm-hmm.
since I was a teenager.
A council.
So this council, I guess you can call them, the Council of Orlando.
Yeah.
Like the world needs more Orlando.
So,
But
mhm, go
mhm.
ahead, finish.
No, I was gonna say that this 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 space of, I guess, speaking or to this council is a part of is meditating for me. And it goes also into me having to go back to my own foundation whenever I have a problem that needs to solve. Now, a foundation is always me and these voices. But now that you're bringing it up, when I was younger or who I went to, and me thinking about the meditation, I think that may have been where it started
Mm-hmm.
to be conjured. It may have been there before and I didn't notice it, but I always do remember that time where I found Buddhism and I learned about meditation and me accepting every thought that just comes to my mind.
Yeah. So, our brain plays a very pivotal part into our safety. So,
Mhm.
think of this, right? If I'm passing by the bed and I hit my small toe on the side of the bed, we all
Mhm.
know how painful that is, right? So our brain will register that pain. So the next time we go past the bed again, it alerts us, hey, be careful because the last time you hurt yourself there.
Yeah.
In your experience, I do think that the council started as a way to help you evaluate your choices that's
Mhm.
going to lead to the less consequences. Because you
Mhm.
have shared that during your childhood, whatever you did a lot of times led to a number of negative consequences with your
Yeah.
parents. So now you started to think twice or even three, four, five times before making a decision. But in order to do so, you had to evaluate it. Here comes a counsel. You are able to kind of pay attention and look at every avenue and evaluate it and have a conversation with the council to process it. So, therefore, you feel that you're making the best decision possible with the minimal risk. The
Mhm.
same way that you went to your dad to get a car and how that was used against you, right? You no longer trusted going to people to for assistance or for their perspective. You started going to yourself as a survival method.
Mhm. And then it made it also easier to go to myself when the decisions I made for myself always helped me.
Yeah. So,
Like so
mhm.
so when you said that you said something like are they telling you to do like things that might be detrimental to you? It's like,
Mhm.
no, it's everybody else that's been detrimental to me.
Correct. You can only trust yourself and your counsel,
Hmm.
right? Because normally we have a few people that we will go to prior to making a life-changing decision or to just hear their perspective or get their mentorship.
Hmm.
But that's also derived from having healthy relationships with our parents so we can learn to trust others. But that was
Yeah.
the inverse for you. So you never really trusted going to other people. You started to become self-reliable on you, right?
Hmm.
So it became necessary for you to look at something from different angles, hence the counsel, evaluate it before making a final decision. Am I making sense?
Yeah. I think the and the other part of that is it's so traumatic that the things I've been through, that the voices become so much more apparent because it's like my brain is now where it might just be slight little thoughts. Now my brain is screaming at me because it doesn't want to go through whatever I've been through before.
Yeah. Have you found difficulty in now opening yourself up and being able to trust others to kind of share what's happening for you? To hear their
Um,
apart from Mila,
yeah.
because I already expected.
Yeah. Well, the answer is no. I haven't felt scared to share these things. Now, when I was aware that I was having my first depression, or no, when I was first aware that I suffered from depression, it was it wasn't a thing for me to share it, right? So there was a time where like I wasn't sharing like everything, or I had to build up to a point where I can be that open. And when I finally shared or told somebody like, yeah, I'm going through depression right now, and I realized that it was okay to say, that triggered something off in my mind to where it's okay to be open in public and be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also okay to be all these versions of myself in my mind also. And I think I was so open, but my mental health was the one part that I like kept to myself, because like you said, maybe me speaking about things or how I think and it not being received well, made me shy away from it. But then also on the other end, not having a space to be open and open up about myself. When I finally get into a space, it's just like, it's not the floodgates, but I'm able to be open and give off a lot, depending on my comfort level, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's boundaries, and there's things set in place before people can get close enough to me, and I could be welcoming, but close enough. And when they are close enough, it's just like, oh well, here's the deeper side of me.
Yeah.
And what you've gotten is me being open, but now here's the details.
Yeah.
But knowing that I can be myself, and being myself in all these different versions is okay, and people fuck with me regardless, even if my parents didn't, made me feel okay with even being more open.
How do you evaluate those that are privileged to the full Orlando, the details?
How much I feel like they're being themselves also.
How do you gauge that?
Just getting to know somebody. It's not, I don't have a formula for
Mm-hmm.
how I know to get close to somebody. I honestly just go by energy. But through conversation and getting to know people, you get a feel of, oh, you're like this all the time.
Yeah.
And you get a feel of, nah, there's something that's not making sense about this story. There's something that's not connecting about these pieces, where I just don't know a certain amount of things about you. And I realized that if I just come out with it, with just being myself and showing everybody, like, I don't care who's around or who's in this room, I'm gonna say what I want. Not say what I want like I'm being disrespectful to people, but I'm gonna say like how I feel and move how I feel at the time. If I don't want to be in this room, I'm just gonna walk out. Where some people are so scared to think about what other people might think. Are people gonna think I'm weird if I say this? Are people gonna think I'm stupid if I do this? It's like, no, this is how I feel, and that's how I want to go about it, so I'll do it. And when I do things like that, I attract more people that are like that also, that are also doing things or responding by how they feel and what they want to do in that moment. So people could do different things, like even setting up boundaries is something that'll make me feel closer to expressing myself with somebody. Because if this person can tell me that it can set up a boundary with me, and I have no malice, no bad intention, we both have no bad intention, that's something that a lot of people can't do.
Yeah.
That's something that'll make me gravitate to you more and want to be more open to you.
To what degree do you trust your judgment of others?
Oh, I have a great judgment of others, and I
Really?
have impeccable judgment of friends.
You think so?
Like, oh yes, my I could say that 96 to 98% of the time, the people that I choose to be my friends, I've made a good decision.
Yeah.
It's very, very rare that I can come across somebody and be like, yeah, I should have just left that one alone.
And
Period.
and what makes you so good at it?
I like I just explained, if I'm myself wholeheartedly and open, people become themselves wholeheartedly and open. People are attracted to individuality. I was actually having this conversation with Mila about, look at fucking Summer Walker. Summer Walker is talented as fuck, and she'll get on that fucking stage and not move a fucking muscle. And no matter how many people complain about how, like, lack of entertaining she is when she gets on that stage and she just all she does is sing, guess what the fuck they do? They keep coming back, they keep talking about her, and they keep paying to see her because they're stuck on the fact that regardless of what everybody thinks, and it's very hard for an artist because you're under public perception all the time. No matter what people say, she is still doing what she wants to do. It's not hard to find these people.
True.
So for me, it's just like, oh, okay, you being yourself, cool. Oh, you're not really being that open. We cool, but we ain't that cool. It's not hard. And when you find those people, it's easy to gravitate them, easy to become friends with them because they're also on the same type of energy and vibe where they're being themselves and they just want real people around them also. So
the journey to self-acceptance.
Yeah. So another thing that I wrote down is segueing right into this is not only me realizing the people that need to be in my life and also realizing the people that don't need to be there. And that's why it's so easy for me to distance myself from my parents. But also, I realized that I can't hate my parents.
You can't what?
I can't hate my parents, right? So, and to explain this is, the love for my parents is like having a love for a family member, right? You start off with that love because your family, your blood, and depending on what the family member does, you be like, yo, I can't fuck with this family member anymore. I gotta cut them off, right? I have felt like I can hate family members where I don't want to fuck with them, don't want them in my life, just like a stranger, a friend, somebody that's done me wrong. But no matter how much my parents have put me through, I can't find the same feeling of hate that I have for other people. And I still feel like I still have an automatic love for my parents. So that same feeling that I have, excuse me, of love going over to hate, it doesn't happen for my parents. I automatically always still love. I don't like the things that they've done. I don't agree with a lot of things that they do or have done, but I don't feel this feeling of hate towards them, and I still feel this feeling of love. But it's that feeling of love that makes it easy for me to distance myself from them and distance all connection from them, because I don't want somebody that loves me or that I feel I love to treat me in that type of way. Boundaries. So if it was somebody that I'm so with or somebody that I don't fuck with, it's easy for me to hate them, cut them off. But now I don't hate my parents, but I don't want to be under this environment that I'm accepting this type of behavior from somebody that I also feel love towards. And I don't want that to go over into other parts of my life to where I can be like, oh, I love this person, but they're treating me like this, just like my parents do. So I guess this is normal. I don't want to have that feeling be normalized. So this decision, like other big decision that I thought about it with the fucking council too, came to the realization that, oh shit, I do love my parents. And I love my parents to the point where I can't not love my parents or I can't hate my parents. So if I know how I view people that love me and how people that love me treat me, and all these people that I've chosen to be in my life because I understand their real energy and they treat me this way, and we both established that we love each other, why would I also allow that for my parents? I can't, but I also can't not love my parents. So out of love, I've cut my parents off.
That's a great way of generalizing it.
Yeah.
But it does make sense. And I think what it also speaks to is the love you have for yourself.
Oh.
Because you're communicating exactly what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. Like, I love you, and because I love you, I'm just going to stop all communication, because if you continue in this manner, the love is going to dissipate. And I love myself enough to know that I'm not deserving of this. So therefore, I'm going to put these boundaries present to protect myself and to protect you.
Right. And remember when you said that I have like narcissistic like I ways, but
Tendencies.
my shit is like positive where I want everybody to be
Mm.
a narcissist and love themselves. It's the same thing for all these voices in my head, right? Because I feel like a narcissist would have voices that would tell them like, oh, you're better than these people. Do this because they want to hear about you or things like that. My voice is just like, you gonna love yourself. And even if you love people that hate you, you're gonna choose yourself over everybody. My voice has always made sure that I prioritize myself.
Yeah.
So no, it wasn't a detrimental thing to be like having these thoughts and everything like that. But it is a self-prioritization at all times. My thoughts always think what are best for me in any situation that I put up.
They protect you. They are there to protect Orlando.
My mental realm is here for me.
The council file.
um Another thing I've been thinking about, this is something random, was the amount of like black kids that aren't hugged by both their parents at the same time.
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you wish you had that?
Oh, of course. And it is a wish, and it is like a bunch of things that I wish my parents would do, but
Oh,
just be normal. I don't even wish they would do anything crazy. Just be regular. Make do stuff that makes me want to just come stop by and just chill. I don't want to do anything crazy or extra with my parents. I want to be regular fucking people. But when I was thinking about having both your parents hug you at the same time, and like just my mind going through uh wanting maybe one more thing for my parents or one thing for my parents, and even cut them off. Maybe there was one more thing that I could have done to make this work, or we could have all done to like to be healthy and happy, or even maybe in the future, we can all be at different spaces and different maturities, and we go make it work. And I was like, I literally don't have the energy to be disappointed by my parents one more time. Like
so
they got one more, and I just don't have it in me.
hence the boundary. You're protecting themselves against themselves. Because if they were to disappoint you once more, it's final. Like you're done. You're out of here. That relationship can never be rebuilt again. But now, due to the boundary, there's still some likelihood that eventually things could get better.
Yeah. And it's crazy because I'm not going to put myself in the position for it to get better, but the hope feels good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I don't know, I guess hope and religion and optimism feels good when you maybe feel like you can explore that. So it's like, oh, I have hope that my parents are gonna do right by me because one day I'm gonna say the right thing, or we're gonna sit down and talk, and then they're gonna understand, and it's gonna happen. Everything's gonna be a-okay. But with me, it's I do hope that my parents get together one day, and I'm never gonna speak to them. And as long as I never speak to them, I can keep this positive space and this positive feeling in my chest towards my parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes hope is all that we need. And sometimes we create that hope just to make us cope with things a little bit better and more positively.
Right. So sometimes I do wonder if this coping is obsessive, because to help me stick to things, I'll create different ideas or ideologies around it. So
That's a form of coping.
yeah. So for instance, this, oh, well, I love my parents so much I have to cut them off. It's just something that I just came up with to myself. And I'm pretty sure it's a real thing to people, right? But this specific space that I'm putting them in, I just came up with it. And I felt like, okay, if I can train my mind, like I've done this before, to accept this ideology that, hey, you can love, and you can love and boundaries, and you can love and cut somebody off, right? Never heard about it before, but you can do it.
Yeah.
Create it, stick to it. And now I've become obsessed with it.
Because you're rewriting your narrative about your parents.
Yeah, but it's the obsession part about it that, let me say. So I was having this conversation with Mila, right, in the bathroom. And I was like, you know, it's one thing to have morals and ideologies and ideals and stuff like that, but I feel like I become obsessive over mine. So some people can have their morals and they'll like waver from it. It's not happening for me. So and when we were talking, I was like, maybe it comes from just from having normal conversation. I was like, yo, I think it maybe comes from my dad always making promises and not keeping them. So when he would, it would be like the littlest things. I'm gonna come pick you up, or I'm gonna come see you, or I'm literally, my dad would say he's around the corner and it'll be an hour and a half has passed by, and I literally thought he was really at the corner. So him always doing these and breaking these promises, it got to the point where I don't make promises about anything. But when I commit to something, I super commit to it because I've been let down and disappointed so much. And it goes for my morals and ideals. So yeah, I can come up with the idea and be like, hey, you know, I'm gonna love my parents from a distance, and I'm no longer ever gonna speak to them, because if I love them from a distance, there's always gonna be hope, and that hope would always feel good. And then later down the line, some people will be like, you know what? I've gotten to a point of maturity to where I can maybe waver and speak to my parents again. It's not happening.
Yeah.
And it's because I can create these ideas and I become obsessed with them. And my whole council will back me on the obsession. And now that you're saying all this, it feels like it's to back the protective energy for myself.
Correct.
And even coming to the point where when I was younger and I said that, oh, you know, when I get when people ask me what do you want in your like marriage or your future relationship with a person you fall in love with, and I was like, I just want to be happy. And I could have added on more things. I want her to be tall, beautiful, all these things. But once I said to myself, oh, I just want to be happy, and I committed to only the happiness, I was committed to accepting whatever person came into my life that I love, as long as I was happy.
Yeah.
But whereas some people, I feel like they would say, oh, I want to be happy, I want to be in a successful relationship, and then they get there, they get the happiness, successful, and it's like, oh no, but I want her to look like this, and now I want her, and then you get more superficial like inputs. For me, it was literally just happiness, and I was committed to not wavering from that want from a person, no matter how they came into my life.
Gotcha.
But it feels obsessive.
That's compliance. It's making sure that there's safeguards to not let you down, not let yourself down.
Yeah.
It's born out of survival.
Yeah.
So what happens when you're no longer surviving and you start living and you start thriving as you are doing now?
What do you mean? That's just
something to think about. We can discuss that next time I see you.